offering functionality, share sound, optimize for video.
Well, it's four seconds till 12 o'clock anyway, so you may as well just go for
Well,
it.
just yeah, I've got to find the video. Um,
12 o'clock.
Ian
just,
Thompson loves
just,
Renault.
just be patient.
Yes, audience, be patient.
How dare you?
Sebastian
Barcelona.
Fleischhacker, Barcelona, hola, buenos dias, or whatever it is. And yeah, ¿qué tal? And that.
There we go. I think this is it. Okay, we're good. We're
Amazing.
Let's do it.
now.
Hit it. Martin Schaefer Bartol from Birmingham.
We were in your patch yesterday, Martin.
Tony Lomas, greetings, my friend.
I'm only laughing because I'm glad it's not me. Thank you to Paul and John for always sorting out the videos at the top of the show.
Dr. Serhii Prashinsky, nice to see you, my friend.
I don't know what all the fuss is about.
Hans Nelson, hello. Ben
that.
Mohide, Christopher
Ready?
Tucker. Yeah.
Steady go.
Shall we? 12:01.
Welcome to the EV Café Village at the Commercial Vehicle Show, the 25th Commercial Vehicle Show. And we are having a ball. Look at this.
The EV Café Village represents the end-to-end ecosystem, everything that you could need to know to decarbonise your fleet.
And the EV Village is doing exactly what it always does, collaboration and communication across the industry.
So the EV Café Village has been the home to the Decarbonisation Theatre, where we have been getting insights from industry leaders.
It's great to be at the heart of one of the biggest commercial vehicle shows here in the UK, where you have companies like Verizon, Renault Group, and even Flexis launching their brand new commercial vehicles.
John Ferry, how has day one of the Commercial Vehicle Show been?
It's been a very good day. We've caught up with lots of friends in the EV industry. We've met some new friends, some new projects and some great ideas for moving forward. So it's been a wonderful day.
We've had a fantastic time. It's our first event that we've done where we've exhibited. I think the energy at the EV Cafe has been electric, mind the pun. And we've loved it. We've absolutely loved it.
It's been great. Really, the energy here is brilliant. I'm so happy that we're in the EV Cafe Village. It's great to be with partners. Lots of footfall. I mean, we've seen so many people come to our stand. So yeah, amazing.
It's been really incredible. I love doing the CV show. It's one of the shows that I always put forward every year. But I also put forward of why we always go with the EV Cafe. It's so good because there's parts of everything for the whole ecosystem. If I don't do it, I know somebody who does do it, and I can absolutely bring you there and introduce you. I love the commodity that we all have. We all love integrating with each other, and I love seeing everybody as well. Like, this is the show to be at, but this is also the stand to be at.
We were here at the event last year as part of the EV Cafe Village, and it's grown exponentially, which is fantastic. But this area has kind of become a bit of a hub, actually. The networking from delegates and amongst ourselves has been fantastic too.
So the lights are out on the Iveco e-Daily, and the show is coming to an end as the music kicks in, as the social networking has begun. Time for a beer, a bit of a chat, and then head off for some well-earned rest after 3 brilliant days at the CV show.
Wait, just the one beer, Paul, or?
Yeah, Paul.
Well, needed. I actually was absolutely dog tired by the end of that. But do you know what? The EV Cafe Village is something that's really there's been a real highlight for me for the last few. We're looking forward to Fleet Mobility Live and more of the same of exactly that collaboration. The celebration of the ecosystem for electrification. That's the bit that really gets me excited. I love that we don't just bring, X product or Y product. We bring all the products together in the community, and you, whoever you are, have an opportunity to be with us at Fleet Mobility Live and the CV show again next year, and Installer Live, and there's a digital festival that we're doing at the end of the year as well. It is just super cool. So anyway, not a sales pitch, it's just blooming good community and ecosystem for electrification. Loved it.
And that feeds in really nicely, Paul. Thank you for that, because people and interaction and networking is where it's all at. If you use AI to do stuff, that saves people time. People can then go and do the things they are best at, perhaps. So AI, you can definitely be best at talking, Paul. So AI in fleet really is an important thing to be discussing. Is it something we should be using? Is it the devil's work? Who knows? We'll find out from you in a little while. But before we get there, thanks to our sponsors, the AA Europe Car, Iveco and Webfleet, and to you, of course, for watching and joining in. The AA have just recently appointed an AI director and an AI academy, and they're taking all their people through AI training so that they're able to utilize it to improve the safety and efficiency of not only their operations, but the roads for the UK. Now then, a few domestics. We are great here in having, or grateful, I should say, in having the quite wonderful Sarah Sloman, the quite magnificent Sam Clark, and the fantastic Paul Kirby. Listen, I'm doing my best here. I'm winging it.
This stuff?
At the bottom of the page, you will see there's a Q&A tab. It's marked Q&A. And in there, put questions that you have for our panel. And the best question of the day gets to win an EV Cafe mug. Paul and Sarah are the judges for that, and Sam will doubtless have an opinion. So we'll award an EV Cafe mug for the best question of a guest today. So whack that in the Q&A. General chat box is over on the other side. It's marked chat, but pictures up on the right-hand side of your screen for general chat. Now then, exciting news just to kick it off, and probably not relevant to AI in its strictest sense, but we don't care because it's darn good news. There's a new Guinness World Record in town, and Webfleet, Sam Clark, Richard Parker, Kevin Booker set a new world record for the furthest distance in an SUV on a single charge, ably supported by Sarah Sloman and Terry Booker in the official support car. Sam and Sarah, tell us more.
Oh, well, yes. Thank you for the yawn, Paul. But boring as it may be to you, I do like to actually do stuff and prove the art of the possible by doing. So, it's the 4th Guinness World Record for me. Ably supported by my wonderful Sarah Sloman, who already has one of her own as well on 2 wheels. But it's been really, really good, actually. I've really enjoyed this one because it's an SUV record, and the SUV is a very, very, very popular. Over 60% of us buy them in the UK, and they're also over 60% of us think that it's the safest vehicle to travel in. Now, there might be some contentious points in return about they're too big and they take up they're too heavy, etc. Yes, maybe, but they are popular. And so too has this record been as a result of that, because people have really engaged with it across the globe again. And really, that's what it's all about. We're not suggesting that anyone can drive 581 miles in a Polestar 3 family SUV on a single charge, right? We can, because we did it in controlled environments. But what it does demonstrate is, with understanding your vehicle well, with understanding how regen can be beneficial, but also turn it off when you're going at higher speeds, drive smoothly, be efficient, we can all travel much further and be more efficient and safer in our EVs. And really, that's, gone are the days where I've been shouting about it because I'm all excited I've got a world record. This is more about continually doing things, demonstrating stuff that's being done to prove that others can do the same in even a small way. Many hands do light work, and if we all continue down that vein, then EVs will be more addressable to the wider market. Having said all of that, with loads and loads of positive reactions on LinkedIn and others, and that's fantastic. And the indirect inverse on Daily Mail, who still think we're complete and utter charlatans and this is a complete con and everything's been made up. But even if they're getting angry about it, we're at least showing them that there is another way. So we will continue to do it if it continues to incite in some respects and provocate. But if it does it in a good way and generates more interest, then I will continue to do it.
Now then, we always get on brand and on message from Sam, highly polished and just, he's just perfection. However, Sarah, can you give us the inside track? Can you tell us what it was really like? Is there a secret that you knew as part of the support team about that world record that doesn't make it to the headlines?
No, I'm actually really open about it. There isn't. The only thing I would say is that they do take driver safety into account. They're verified independently by the Guinness World Records team, but we also have the AA supporting us in case anything goes wrong, and both the AA and Webfleet keeping an eye on the data, making sure everything is correct. So what we do in the support crew is, number one, it's the most fun car of both the cars, of course, because we're having a little party. But when the drivers are asleep, we put little pillows down, feed them snacks, and make sure everybody's resting in between their shifts. So yeah, it's a lot of fun to do, and no mean feat.
Yeah, and just one last thing, John. It is a team game, as Sarah's alluded to. The AA, the Webfleet have always been so fantastic in supporting these things. Sarah and Kevin's other half, Terry as well, and everybody in the videographers. It's a big team effort to do these things for what is an output of 5 or 6 minutes worth of social media content. But it's amazing how much that can spread across the globe, and that's what it's all about. So thank you to Sarah and to Terry and to Kevin and to Richard Parker and to Webfleet and the AA and the videographers and everybody else. Fantastic effort. So thank you.
And I will say, I am actually quite impressed. 581 miles in an SUV, and I think it is important that we do the things that are popular, because if we ignore the popular, then it's a bone of contention of mine within the van world. We're only just getting to some of the most popular vans, the Ford E-Transit Custom in particular. It's here now, and I'm seeing them on the road, and that's good news, right? But we do need to do the popular, and it's a great flag to wave to say 581 miles. That's pretty good going. I am quite impressed.
Still not far enough. We could do with him being further away. But anyway,
we went round in one loop, John. So we went back in one loop. So we started at Norwich Electric Forecourt and pretty much ended there. So unfortunately, we're back where we started.
Superb
we
effort,
just
my
need
friends.
to point him across, sort of Netherlands. That's quite nice and flat. You can go that way. Just carry Luxembourg and beyond. We'll
Paul, there is a certain member in the chat who is residing in the Spanish region that is quite keen on doing something. So we'll see. We may well be going across the waters in the not too distant future.
Right. You heard it here first. Now then, let's crack on with AI. What do you know about AI?
I'm pretty excited. I'm excited about this one.
When you hear the term AI, what does it mean to you? Now then, I'm going to do a cheeky little thing. So let's have some of that, and some of that, all of that. We got one of them, some of that. We are going to do
a Kahoot.
A Kahoot.
Oh God.
Where's
I can't do it 'cause
gone?
I'm on my phone. I'll have
There
to
it
just
is.
watch.
Right, host live. Let's do a Kahoot. Where's me Kahoot gone? I'm going to sort this out. Here we go. There, start, idiot. Right, so
John,
we're
you
going
need
to
to make the
have
screen bigger.
rude. We're going to have a
There you go.
Kahoot. So if you go to kahoot.it or scan that QR code, put in the game pin 111115, and you can tell us what word comes into your head when you think about AI. Whatever it might be. Nice cups there. Can I just say 4 cups? Tom Pearson in the house. Oh, they're flooding in now. Good stuff. Beano. Dev, DEV, Chakravarti. Rob's here. Rob Dustin, bless him. Sending him love. Master of questions. How rude. I thought that was me. Right. Okay. Are we ready to roll? Oh, it's got a couple more. Anybody else? Any more for any more? Okay. Let's start.
Cheeky.
Oh no, don't care. So, me AI word cloud. What word do you think of when someone says AI? So, type in your answers. Oh, I can hear stuff. We got 7. We got 9. There's 19 seconds left. 15, 16 seconds. 18 answers, 14 seconds, 23 answers, 12 seconds, 25 answers, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. This is like the lottery countdown. It's amazing.
The tension. Whoa.
So the bigger the block, the more people have put that. Okay, so artificial intelligence almost is the most popular word when you say AI. Clever.
Okay.
I see what you did there. What else have we got?
Well, John, we'd have opportunity in a slightly larger text if someone hadn't spelt it wrong. Bless them.
But interestingly, you've got some positive and you've got some negative. So caution, cheat, companion. I like that one, and I use mine as a companion. It's one of my best friends. Scary, innovation, iRobot. Interesting. Efficiency, output, opportunity, helpful, clanker. Don't even know what that is. I'm not sure I want to. Yeah. So there we go. So that's really quite interesting. There's a mixed view about what people think about AI. Force for good, force for evil. Well, we've got a guest today who might be able to help us to unpack that. Sam, can you introduce James Dewhurst from Webfleet?
Be my pleasure. Where is James? There he is. He's appeared. Brilliant. James, welcome to the show. Corporate Sales Director at Webfleet. If you didn't already know that, he's so famous, everyone knows that already. James has been working in the telematics world for over 15 years and has taken a keen interest in helping fleets to be safer and greener to help make the world a better place for his children. He's based in the Highlands of Scotland, unlucky, and recently joined the Highland Voices Gospel Choir. I did not know that. After seeing them appear on the BBC show The Traitors, and has just completed his first appearance at a festival at the Edinburgh Fringe. That's like 3 little known facts in one. I hadn't read this out before. That's fantastic, James. Well done on the intro. That's amazing. So are you going to give us a little rendition before you start?
Yeah, come on.
Oh,
Please,
could you imagine? That would be a way to get everybody to leave the call straight away. It was properly in at the deep end, having not done anything like that for 25 years. It was kind of chucked in to people that have been doing it for 9 as a group. So it's nice to have a different, interesting stat to talk about. Before that, it was a childhood appearance on EastEnders. So that's at least this is a bit more current.
We need to see that screen grab, please, as well after the break.
So thank you very much for having me. I'm really looking forward to actually joining this conversation. I think look at some of those words, helpful and scary are one that I see as ones that I identified with. That's for sure, because it's got both equal opportunities and also some nervy areas around AI. I think so. It should be interesting today.
So how do you use AI at Webfleet? How does that improve your proposition?
Yeah, so I've got a little bit of a teaser kind of deck that we can go through as well, talk us through. But at the moment in Webfleet, we're using it a number of ways. We're using it in our product. So we've actually just launched our AI Fleet Advisor, which is actually embedded within the software to help our users as an AI tool. You can actually ask it questions and it guides you through the different areas where you can maybe ask it stuff like, who's my most efficient driver, who uses the most CO2, where are my opportunities within that aspect. So that's how we're using it within the product. At Webfleet ourselves, we're also using it a couple of innovative ways to connect with people as well, which I'm going to show you a little bit later, because where we see it can help is obviously speeding up as well in terms of development. We're using our development teams now to write code, because it's improved the efficiency of a lot of those areas as well. So there's a number of different ways that we're using it already, both for our customers and then indirectly to help make us more efficient.
Do you want to show us your thing? Show us your spreadsheet thing,
yeah,
presentation.
Well, let's
yours.
Don't show us your thing. Just show us your presentation.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Get more ways for people to get switched off. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you could see.
Dear.
Cancelled, I think, is the phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see that, James.
Great stuff. No, well, thank you. I mean, I'll skip through some parts of this, in terms of, because hopefully people do know who Webfleet are. We know we aren't just people that support the Guinness World Records, although congratulations again, Sam, for an amazing achievement. I think, when we look at where we operate and the amount of data we're actually bringing in, that's 50,000 customers, but that's There's nearly 2 million vehicles that we're pulling in data from, which gives us 81 million miles driven each day coming into our servers. That includes 23 million litres worth of fuel that we monitor per day and 60,000 tons of CO2. So this is mass data that's coming in, but this data is provided to customers one-to-one in our platform, but then also it's aggregated so we can start using it for AI data inception. And we already have a number of ways that we're actually monitoring that through predictive analytics, through tyre monitoring, predicting maybe when a tyre could blow out from the data we're starting to receive and the temperature maybe that's on the tyre as well. So there's lots of different ways that we're sort of finding that, that AI is coming into our area. What we're going to do, and we'll share the link to this later, we actually conducted a survey, which was over 1,800 fleet managers, where we asked them a number of different questions. And in the AI section, currently 15% of the people responding in the UK are utilising AI. 76% plan to in the future using AI, but also in the actual impact, they reckon 97%. So nearly every fleet manager we spoke to reckons that AI will impact fleet management significantly in the next 5 years. So there's a bit of a gap there. We're going to be bridging between 15% currently using and 97% where they think it's going to be. The biggest impact we expect to see is going to be around the optimization and route planning, but also driver safety. But we also are starting to see a big trend of it towards the decarbonisation, which is I'm hoping where we can discuss today. So first of all, why does AI exist? And this is something that, a few people have kind of asked us in terms of questions. Well, it's human nature. I don't know if anybody knows the term. Josh in our team actually came up with this. This is actually an elephant path. So this is, quite a tangible area. People can walk this route on the left-hand side really easily. But as we see, the human nature is there's a shorter place to go and a quicker way to get there. So over time, the elephant path arrives and people move quicker. And that's an innate part of human nature. We're always striving to do better, always trying to go further, always looking to move and find ways of being more efficient. And that's one reason why AI has come into existence. The other reason is, and this is from a picture from my local gym, people don't follow instructions. Computers do. So, this is quite clear, no blue roll in recycling, and what do you get blue roll in recycling? So AI will follow a set determined bunch of rules and follow it to the letter. So it can be more efficient, it can help people as well, it can make menial tasks be done a lot quicker. So there's a lot that can be done with AI. The other thing we're seeing with AI is the speed of adoption. If we look at the last 20, 30 years, there's been huge areas, well, maybe 40 if you look at the internet. The internet came along and it was adopted very quickly. When Apple launched their first iPhone, it was revolutionary, and then now ChatGPT. But actually, the speed of the adoption has been huge. The internet, the first billion users was over 15 years. When it came to the iPhone, the first billion iPhones were shipped within 5 years. With ChatGPT, it's 2 years. So we're seeing an incredible speed of adoption within AI. And the reason that adoption is happening so quickly is because the other things have come before it. The internet's enabled the smartphone, and the smartphones have enabled better access to ChatGPT so people can do it in seconds from their phone. So we're going to see this change really quickly. It's really starting to impact fleet already. And we at Webfleet have also had to move really quickly to make sure that we can have it in our platform to keep up with usage and demand. And there's a few different types of AI. I'm not going to go into all of them, but this is also constantly changing. You've got your analytical AIs, which we've had in Webfleet for quite some time. This actually allows you to identify trends and patterns. So we use it for driver behavior in our OptiDrive. We also use it in some of our reporting as well. A fleet manager might use that currently to monitor fuel consumption, driver behavior, vehicle maintenance records. That's probably already happening. Generative AI, which has come out from ChatGPT, is this new type of artificial intelligence that creates content such as text, images, codes, guides, white papers, can all be done through Gen AI. And we're seeing that now starting to appear. Maybe if people want to build a decarbonisation plan, they'll actually put all their data into AI and ask for a decarbonisation plan to come out for them about how they can transition their fleet, which I'd love to discuss and see if that, if that resonates with the audience later on. Where we're going, which is where I think the scary part comes in, is actually the agentic AI, where the next level of what's going to happen is actually where there's going to be a self-sufficient AI assistant. And we're already seeing this in marketing and sales, and other areas, which comes without needing actually constant oversight. Generative AI, analytical AI, you make the instruction, it follows it. Agentic AI can operate on its own. So that's an example for a fleet manager, could be that an AI system could actually handle vehicle maintenance and automatically schedule the jobs and also move the other stuff around for your drivers. So when it's due for service, or maybe it has a tire blowout and it reschedules everything. So there's different areas there. I've also got quite a scary example of a Gen AI, and apologies, this isn't me trying to be vain, this was just the option we had available. So this is actually me as an AI avatar explaining how it could be used for people like Matt, who's going to come up soon.
AI can change the way we work forever. Picture this. A fleet manager can use an AI avatar like this one you are looking at now. It could be one of themselves, or a leader within your business. And to convey a safety or sustainability message to all drivers, all the subject needs to do is spend 2 minutes recording themselves speaking about any subject. You then just input the script you want, and a few minutes later the video is ready. Quick production, no studio costs, and ultimate flexibility without needing to wait for the subject's busy diary to become available. This can change the way companies operate their driver training and engagement forever. AI.
I'll go on to the next one.
AI.
There we go. That is us, and that is me, which I know is quite scary, but that was AI generated after 2 minutes of videos, and now we can roll that out in a number of different ways. This is a copy of the guide that we've spoken about. If anybody wants to download it, they can just scan the QR code, and it's got the information that's in there. But obviously, we're interested in the next few minutes having a chat about this and what it could potentially do and where it could go. Obviously, feel free to also connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to look at more. So yeah.
I would say, James, that the AI version of you are much more fun than your actual AI version. I'm relieved to say that human feel.
Some people prefer the AI me, because I think so. Yeah, but my wife says it's very scary. And
well, James, we've got a few questions in the chat, specifically on your presentation, and it was actually the first one mirrors a thought that I had, because tires are a critical and a really important part of the whole makeup, and for things like, so Ian Thompson says, for things like vehicle dynamics, you mentioned tire temperatures. How are these monitored?
Yeah, so actually what we've been doing in the recent years was we were acquired by Bridgestone in 2019. So we've been developing technology that actually, tire pressure monitoring systems. Now, a lot of modern vehicles have these systems already embedded, which you can connect to through the OEM, like you would with the OEM telematics. But we've also got our own monitoring straps and, and other areas, so which will actually go inside the tire or go on the valve of the tire, and they monitor pressure, they monitor temperature. But then that's where the AI comes in, because it takes that information, that data, and starts to build algorithms to then allow it to sort of predict what's going on with that tire. If the temperature's going up and there's a fluctuation in the pressure, then you're going to have a situation where you could have a blowout. So for people like Matt, that's going to join us in a little while, if they use that technology correctly, they can actually preempt a blowout, because a blowout at the side of a road for HGV can cost them an absolute fortune. Yeah. Downtime in, because when a tire like that goes, it's not just the tire, it can take out half a trailer, with it, and it's dangerous. So those sorts of areas are where we're really seeing people engaged at the moment about what they can do. And that's, a real strong use case, positive use case for AI and what it can do.
Yeah, and I mean, it leads nicely to the next question, because we can really obviously clearly see the value of AI in that. And it said 76% of respondents who plan to use AI in the future, not now, so they're not using it now. What are the common denominator blockers? What was there any research around what is stopping people from leaning into AI now and really making the most of it?
Not necessarily the guide, but the anecdotal stuff that I've spoken to and the fleet managers I've had conversation with, part of it is time. And this is a chicken and egg scenario. What I see is fleet managers are under and transport managers under a lot of pressure. Sometimes they operate just by themselves, and they don't always have a fleet team, maybe parts of it being outsourced in those areas. So they really want AI to be able to help to support them, but they don't have the time to learn it, about how to use it. Now, certain aspects, ChatGPT, you can just pick up and ask questions and go through there. But when you actually talk about AI tools and some of those capabilities, you just need that little bit of time and access to be able to do it. And time is everyone's most precious commodity. It's something we all struggle with. So once they get to that stage, they'll do it. But there is a little bit of fear as well of the unknown. And I think fleet management and transport management are evolving rapidly. From where they were 20, 30 years ago and when I started 15 years ago in telematics. There's so much now around risk, around compliance, around safety, around decarbonisation. A fleet manager has to wear so many hats, often without support. The AI could be the support that they need, and the agentic AI I talked about there. They could actually have a fleet assistant going with them that could handle some of the day-to-day queries from drivers, from internal staff, those sorts of things, to allow them to free up their time to be more strategic, to be, to have more around the planning bit and get more done, really.
Yeah. Well, there's more to say. More to say. We'll come back to another question from Tom on agentic AI, but it's really, really interesting. But it is now time for our next guest. So why don't we go to Sam? And if you could introduce, is it Matt? I think it is.
Matt. Indeed.
Yeah.
And thanks, Paul, and thanks, James. I mean, we feel like we've scratched the surface of what you just
I
shared.
know.
It blows my mind. But anyway, moving on. Matt Deere, Managing Director at the Swain Group, leading one of the UK's most diverse logistics operations, from container transport to heavy and abnormal loads. Passionate about sustainability, he has driven a transition to HVO and electric HTVs backed by real-world trials, my favourite, and investment in charging infrastructure. He's proud to lead a team that delivers innovation, retains FORS accreditation, which is the Freight Operators Recognition Scheme, I think, if memory serves, and plays an active role in shaping the future of low-carbon logistics. So, a man after my own heart and right on schedule. He's turned his video on before I needed to ask. So, well done, Matt. And
good afternoon, everyone.
Welcome to the show. I don't think you've been on our show before.
I haven't, first time.
So, yeah, my apologies in advance for our ridiculousness. But thank you for coming on, and over to you, maybe to give a quick intro over and above what I did, in terms of what you do.
Yeah, definitely. So Swains is definitely a very diverse haulage business, as we've kind of explained, really. My journey really is 8 years within Swains, a family business, 5th generation, and we're on a journey of modernising our industry, really, and certainly Swains, in terms of where we're going as a business. EHGV has been around for 2 years with us, and we're doing some real life testing on that. We're, I think, probably one of the only operators today that have tried every manufacturer in the last 6 months. So we're about to try 2 more now, and then we've completed our trials, which has been outside of the government schemes that we've had. So we're quite excited to present that in the next couple of months in terms of where we are as a business. And really just trying to modernise what is a very difficult time, I think, for most haulage businesses in the UK at the moment.
Matt, you said that you've got your fleet. Is it about 800 vehicles?
Yeah, across the whole business, if you take from vans all the way up to what we call really heavy haulage, 250-ton vehicles, really. So we really are, very diverse in terms of what sort of equipment we have in the business.
And you're here as a customer of Webfleet, because very often we hear from businesses selling their wares, if you like, and showing what they can do. But you're somebody who's actually used Webfleet to improve the efficiency and operation of your system. Can you explain how that's worked?
Yeah, so of the business at the moment, we've got around 360 assets in terms of the tractor units on Webfleet at the moment. And we're just about to put all our trailers onto what they call EV PMS, which is the braking systems that you can have on the fleet. So we're well into working with Webfleet, and prior to that, we've been Bridgestone for a long time. We've been a long-standing customer of Bridgestone, which is how we got introduced to Webfleet. So we've tried everything with Webfleet, and I think we're probably fully integrated with Webfleet on all parts of our business. Through TPMS, which is the tyre pressure monitoring. I know that was mentioned earlier. So we've done some quite heavy testing on that today with Bridgestone, and down to driver behaviour, which is really interesting in terms of what we can do with our drivers and what sort of measurements we can put in place to get better performance out of our drivers, and also identify potential problems that we're facing on the road through Webfleet. One of the big issues though we do have in our business at the moment is the amount of data that we're currently capturing and who actually goes through that information, which is where AI really is coming into its own really in the future, being able to just crunch that data and make it meaningful to us. We've got a day-to-day job that we're doing, and really trying to capture that data is key now. I think with AI, we're starting to see developments on that.
Are you getting good quality outputs from the data that you get? So, if you imagine the journey, you go and do your journey, you get the data out, and then there's all of this stuff that The trick is, and where Webfleet come into this, is they are able to take that data and interpret it, do data analysis and interpret it using AI to give you things you can then go and do to improve your efficiency. What have you seen coming out of the system?
I think one of the great things about Webfleet really is the flexibility for a haulier. We all run very differently, and also a lot of our trucks run very differently as well. So the flexibility with Webfleet is there. So one of the big dilemmas we have is that every part of our business probably wants a different KPI. So you can make a system too bespoke, I think is so we're having to reset ourselves in terms of what standard KPIs should look like. And we've been guided by Webfleet on that as well. So actually bringing back some of what is really important really to run a fleet. We're having to readjust ourselves really in the business, which is key really. So yeah, I think one of the big dilemmas with even with the transport managers really is trying to understand the data, and also trying to modernize themselves as really in terms of what to look for is key.
One of the things that the poll, the word cloud, showed right at the beginning was that there's a huge amount of fear potentially about AI. Was that something that you felt when it was suggested?
Personally, no. I can understand from probably from my fleet manager's point of view and everything else, I can understand why they would think differently. And also from my workshops, we call our own workshops as well. So you can understand why these new tools coming in. I see them as more of assisting the business, and I do generally believe that. I think we got good people in the business that should be doing other things, and they shouldn't be churning through data, which is what they're doing at the moment. So I see it as a positive at this stage. I think everyone fears the future, that big unknown, but certainly to assist us as an operation, I think is key. And I think we can all benefit from that at this moment in time.
You just can't beat a testimonial from a customer. So seriously, Matt, you've been brilliant. Thanks for that. Paul, are there other questions in the Q&A box?
There is. I'm gonna be cheeky though and say
Shock.
a question of my own. That fear you refer to, Matt, is it a fear that jobs will be replaced, or that AI will just take over the world? I mean, what is that fear? Is it that fear of loss, personal loss in terms of jobs?
I think at the moment it's taking away the job responsibility, not necessarily I don't think the job itself is the responsibility they're currently doing today.
Yeah.
Which I would say in many cases they're not doing very well actually, because I think it's just too much data to churn. So it's not their own fault. It's just too much there to deal with. I think that's the biggest thing at the moment, is that I don't think they're looking at jobs at this stage. I don't think that's really what it is. I think it's more the responsibility of the function.
And it's interesting you mentioned the word responsibility. Daniel Holmes in the Q&A has said, when using AI and providing services like Webfleet are providing to you, is there a responsibility to be explicit in where it is being used and its application, and how do we progress and move forward at a pace that allows us to test and learn? And what happens when AI is applied by a service provider and it goes drastically wrong? And coming back to who is responsible, and I know I've twisted the application of the word responsibility there, but yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a big concern there. I think if you look at the amount of data you can get from the system now, like all the CAN bus information that's coming out of the vehicles is going through Webfleet. And there is a responsibility as a transport manager and as an owner of a business as well, certainly a haulage business, that you want to make sure that you're legal, compliant, and safety is paramount. So you are having to check that the data is going to be 100% correct. And that is a concern that we all have. You know, we're all going to have that, I think, in the business, that the data has been churned correctly and the outputs that are coming out. What we've seen so far, though, I must say, is very positive. I think, you know, the KPIs are definitely working in our favour. But I think we have got to be careful what we wish for, really, and what we are measuring with the outputs.
Yeah. Well, Tom Pearson from CPD has got another question, and I guess it's to us all, really, the group. Agentic AI, and I didn't know that we had all these little names for different levels of AI. I thought it was, you know, AI that helps, AI that sort of takes over, and then AI that destroys us all. But, you know, I wasn't sure. But anyway, agentic AI is limited to program decisions tree, or is it truly self-thinking decision enabled? You know, how far have we got with AI in the fleet industry? Are we getting to the point where it's making decisions really based on its own learning?
I think if you look at some of our customers, and I won't go into names, but if you look at, you know, jet engines and what's happening in the air, and you can see a jet engine in the air, what servicing it needs when it lands on the ground, and what parts it needs. And the same with some quite heavy machinery as well. There's some quite big centres that are centralised, where they're looking at this information constantly. You know, I think for me, I think that's the next stage, really, is what do you do with all the information, and how do you make it meaningful? And if an AI can do that and predict when a truck is going to break down, when it needs new injectors, and we're talking about EVs, obviously, as well, when it needs parts, that's got to be helpful for me. Tyre pressures are really just, you know, we talk about tyre pressures. If you look at currently the MPG that the amount of spend we use on diesel today, just getting the tyre pressures right on all our fleet, the MPG saving and the fuel saving by doing that is immense. So they're the savings. If you can get an AI to do that and do it easily to communicate to a transport manager that there's something wrong, for me, that's where there's real value.
Yeah. James, what about you? What are you thinking on this?
Yeah, I mean, this is where I do think in some ways, some parts of it does start to get a little bit scary in terms of what the agentic AI capability is. I mean, if anybody listens to Stephen Bartlett and some of his Diary of a CEO podcasts, you will often hear the real kind of sensationalist piece on this, that they're heading towards artificial general intelligence, which is where it eclipses what humans can do, and super intelligence. I mean, the theory is that AI could actually, you know, replace presidents and prime ministers and those things, because they'll be able to make better decisions based on true data. That's what they're talking about getting to in the future. Agentic AI, I think, has real strong use cases, because it's the challenge you have at the moment is we've seen with generative AI. So you ask sometimes the wrong questions or give it the wrong context, you get the wrong answers. And also, sometimes I even had it, we use it sometimes when we're doing tender responses and those sorts of to ask questions. It actually gives you the wrong information, makes stuff up. You know, it'll actually come back and say that it came back and told me once that Webfleet customer, and that wasn't a Webfleet customer, but it looked at our profile and said this would make a good Webfleet customer. So you really have to check at the moment, and until you get to a stage where you're comfortable that it's been trained properly, that it can learn off, you know, those areas. That's the challenge. Now, it could really help, you know, I think the fleet industry, because if you have something that has all the experience of people in Matt's organization, people in maybe Ovo's organization for the decarbonisation, you could build such a database that, you know, companies that maybe can't afford a fleet manager or struggled with fleet managers so that to keep compliant could all of a sudden have one at, you know, at a fraction of a cost, and keep themselves, you know, and move faster. For me, it's how quickly we can move towards net zero. And that's where I see the biggest benefit in lots of these things. Making drivers safer through driver training, where we automatically deliver them feedback on their driving style and course content based on AI would help make them safer and makes them more green and sustainable in the future, because we won't have the number of write-offs, we're using less fuel, and we'll be able to transition to electric quicker as well. So there's lots of things like that, I think.
So we've got a couple of hands in the air. I was going to come to you, Sas, with a question from Mike Seymour. So can I outline the question and then come to you with it? Because Sas, you have got a very innovative thinking brain. You've got one of those brains that really can quickly process data, not quite as quickly as AI, but but let's come to you with the question. So yeah, no, you're right. And most of the attention today has been on software and how we can add value through data crunching and that sort of thing. But he's asking what, and for reference, Mike Seymour is going to be a partner with the EV Cafe, but you'll have to find out more about that later.
Does he use AI?
Is he AI? Maybe he is AI.
He can see more.
Yeah, very good. Very good, John, yes. But where do we see AI going that is native in EVs? Can AI work in the vehicles? And he's sort of referencing that the surface is just being scratched, with routing and driving. What do we think is possible? Saz, go for it.
Great question, Mike, and thank you, Paul, for that. And if anybody has had the pleasure of watching Mission Impossible 3, you won't get those 3 hours back, but they were very much focused on what they call the godless, stateless, sentient artificial intelligence that exists both everywhere and nowhere, capable of vast computational feats and penetrating virtually any system. It's a truth-eating digital parasite, but that is not what we're talking about in the automotive sector. I'm very excited about agentive AI because I'm visualizing something that we just heard Matt talk about, whereby we can protect our vehicles in advance. Agentive AI can learn, like an agent would, where we move, what we like, what our preferences are, how we consume the power in our vehicles. And I was listening to another rival, wonderful podcast where they were speaking to somebody about how in real time they're working with the automotive sector to encourage the driver to accept the prompts from AI. So you'll be driving along and you'll see a pop-up that says, "We see you have a problem with your car. Please check into your nearest, most convenient garage. And by the way, we've spotted in your diary that there is a gap for that. It's only 17 miles away. Perhaps you could tie that in with your EV Cafe monthly webinar." And you just say, "Yeah, sounds great." And then off you go, and they'll prepay it with online digital payments. And actually, the in-car payment thing is seriously interesting for AI as well. Something we're looking at vastly at Paythrough is how do we improve that authorization rate? So that time you're saving by having an authorization happen very quickly, even at 0.01% of improvement, hits the functional bottom line. So I want to see a world where AI is improving through optimization. It's not the terrifying Mission Impossible style AI that's going to rule the world, and humans will continue to control it. I know there's a dystopian future. I know that it's a scary thought, but I do believe that the clever brains in the automotive sector will use it as a tool, the tool that it is, and learn from it and manage it as it was always intended. That's my hope.
Sam, you've got your hand up. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I can't even begin to articulate things the way Sarah did. But something that James said earlier, which struck a chord with me in terms of this using AI for research purposes, and that's the bit that I find incredibly dangerous. I searched using AI about a year ago, about what the future of let me use my words carefully. The future of zero emission heavy goods vehicles was going to be in the UK, and it gave a little bit of information about EHEV and said hydrogen was where the future was going to be, and that was going to be the proliferation over the next 3 or 4 years. I asked the same question just before this webinar yesterday. Completely different. Hydrogen wasn't even mentioned. It was all about electric vehicles, which we knew that a year ago, but the AI didn't. And what I find worrying about AI generally is that it's only as good as the information it can pull, and in pioneering areas where the information is still nascent, it's coming to really concrete conclusions about things it doesn't understand because it doesn't have the experience in the topic. And that's the bit that I find frightening, is that people are lazily using this stuff to get what they think is the right answer, only to find, because there is insufficient provenance in the subject matter, that they're talking absolute nonsense, and therefore the AI is providing the same. Is that a risk factor that we've got to somehow mitigate, do we think?
I must admit, I've learned from questioning, like ChatGPT and developing the question, asking it 2 or 3 times, that I end up with a better answer because of a better question. John?
I use Gemini from Google as my AI platform, and I'm able to get it to give me the sources of information that it has checked and is quoting. With my legal background, we always look at the authority and where that's coming from, the source of the information, as the key to whether that is likely to be correct or not. And this is a really good indicator. And I think what's key is that we keep a sense of common sense about what's coming out, and we don't just hand over our processes to AI, but keep that human interaction, which keeps it right, and that you are able to exercise your own judgment on the outputs.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we've got two questions which I'm going to combine, one from Matt McCullen and one from Dr. Seri Przinski. We'll go with that. And Matt asks to Matt, does Matt think there will be a loss of human expertise with an over-reliance on AI? And let's combine it with Dr. Przinski. Can AI be integrated into predictive maintenance? And I think you've already kind of alluded to this, Matt, to define varying current and analyze gathered data with recommendations of possible decisions. And it kind of combines with, are we using AI to replace human expertise? And can AI improve that? Matt, what are your thoughts?
I think as a haulage industry, I think we're going to have to face the fact that people don't want to be in our industry. So I think we're going to have to rely more and more on tools to assist the people that are going to stay in the industry. So I think it's a good thing. I'd love for more people to be in the haulage industry, but the younger generation don't want to be in our industry, and I think that's the reality. I think if we make it more sexier in terms of AI and modern tools, then maybe that comes along. But at the moment, I think we've got a dilemma, and maybe this is the answer in the short term to deal with potentially a labour shortfall that we'll have also at desk level, not just on the road, that we have. And it's a reality that we have to face as an industry, I think.
John, have you got something to say on that? And then James?
I've got a question actually, which is about the return on investment. And I wonder if anybody is factoring in an ROI for AI, if that's not too many letters. Are we using AI just as a way of seeking to find any improvement, or are we justifying AI based on our traditional measurement framework, which is the return on investment that activity brings?
Let me come to James on that, because I suspect that you're having to go out to market to justify, your commercial proposition for AI and including AI, but also come back to the question that you wanted to answer when you put your hand up.
Yeah. There's a couple of bits there to go back into what Matt was talking about as well. We've got an approach to AI in our team where we look at an AI sandwich, so human AI sandwich. If human use the AI, then go back to human. You have to validate what you're looking at in order to make sure it's appropriate. We've got use cases that we see within our scenario, like we launched our EV charger monitoring last year, and that's going to allow us to use AI in different ways, in that we now have the EV charger data in Webfleet and we have the vehicle data in Webfleet, and actually we can then start to load balance at the right time for the cost efficiency. And that's not going to be manual, that's going to be AI that takes over and does those things. So we have to look at it from an ROI basis of what we spend within Webfleet in development. Now, there's definitely a nature of you have to be doing it, like to be shown to be an innovator and move forward as you always do. But also, it's got to have that use cases that are applicable. And for me, I think there are plenty within the decarbonisation space, because we have to decarbonise. There's certain things that, like safety and decarbonisation, where cost is almost put out the window. Because actually it needs to happen. It has to happen. Otherwise, we're in a situation where we face bigger challenges. So I think sometimes that's where I see a real applicable use case for it. And especially, I don't need to preach to this converted church, but I could see that being so important going forward.
And from an ROI perspective, James?
Yeah, from ROI, I mean, we're already seeing people that are utilizing those tools because, again, that's time saving. So the ROI at the moment is very much time saving. But as Matt alluded to as well, we're now in this situation where there is so much data And we've talked about this on previous webinars. There's almost too much data to handle, and actually that then means that the systems you've got, you're not getting a return on investment out of. So actually, can we improve that ROI on what you have and consolidating? There's a lot of consolidation platforms out there as well that are putting data together, one pane of glass, and going forward with that. So the ROI is actually going to be executing what you want out of your systems and getting those pieces. So yeah, there's a lot that's going to happen there, and I think the justification is there, and there's a lot of ROI for yourself, time investment, just to get yourself up to speed to do it. But once you do it, as John Scower mentioned as well, a lot of us use ChatGPT every single day to respond to emails, to handle situations. How do we do this? How do we do that? It's becoming ingrained, but we've got to make sure that it doesn't replace the skill set that we need in the industry, like people like Matt's drivers that we want to attract into it.
Yeah, Saz.
Yeah, pretty much that. I really want to echo both Matt and James's comments and everyone today. The chat's been electric as usual. Thank you so much. But I'm really talking about that super helpful AI that's there seriously to optimize our operations and then directly affect that bottom line. That's always the ROI conversation. So turning something that was a cost into a cost center. So proving that the efficiency gains. And I love the sound of the human sandwich, although it sounds like another terrible Tom Cruise movie, to be honest. But we won't be publishing that anytime soon. But I do see this world where we constantly fear something because we don't understand it. And just like John, I consider myself to be very interested in science and law and technology. And so I've trained myself to ask the right questions and take different sources, triangulate my data. I never take one answer. And people hate me for it because I never, ever believe people first time round. So yeah, the encouragement there is to get different points of view. And as for it taking our jobs, I think the things that are happening out there, the jobs are going to people who understand and embrace and can use AI safely. That's what we all need to retrain ourselves to do. And at Pater, it's a financial services company, so we were not allowed to use AI for a long time because, of course, you're putting highly sensitive information into an open portal. And I'm seeing people put contracts into AI. Is this a good contract? That's a terrifying thing to do because you're giving away your IP to a big search engine.
Very good point. Now, Matt McCullum makes a good point, which is a general point, because whilst we're talking about AI and all of that good stuff, and we think it's just, tap it into the internet and away we go, of course, these are powered by huge data centers and the servers and all of the energy, massive amounts of energy that is consumed by these things. Can we do AI and EV? Is it even possible? Is there enough energy in the world to power this? Sam, come on. I know you've got an opinion on these sorts of energy-related questions. Give us your thoughts.
Well, actually, funnily enough, I had a conversation on this very topic just yesterday with an old friend of mine who is living in the other part of the world, who was looking at exactly this challenge, and that is around renewable energy through wind and solar to generate the energy that's required for EV infrastructure and for data centers combined. Because clearly they are the two huge drivers of energy consumption coming forward. But much like love or loathe him, Elon Musk's presentation of old with a small patch of the world that could be solar, which could power the entire world. There is sufficient wind and solar around alone, if we put our efforts to it, to generate sufficient energy for this, for vehicles, and for everything else in between. So we just got to get there. Got to get the energy generation in the right places and renewable, and the world needs to do that, right? Because these data centers will be global; they already are, and that's the challenge for someone to undertake. Many people to undertake.
It's a bottle of water per search, team. So back to that whole point of thinking about the question. Get the question right, and you'll do all you can to preserve that energy. Don't ask it a million questions. Ask it one.
Well, we've had lots and lots of questions. John, we need to come back to you, but I believe Sarah might have the best question of the day.
Well, it's controversial because it's not actually a question, but time and time again, Friday news, podcasts, and also the webinar, we see Ian. Ian comes with thoughtful insights and challenges us. And I don't know if Ian Thompson has a mug yet, but
he does.
Ian, you get my vote.
Does.
Oh, really?
I think he does.
I should have asked AI.
Anyway.
So,
John,
Paul, who do you think?
I'm picking up Ian Thompson's point. I was reading this week about data centers being placed under the sea to keep them cool. which on the one hand is great, on the other hand warms the sea, which
yeah,
not so
very
great.
true, right.
Boils the ocean.
And Ian talking about putting them in Greenland. Yeah, they'd be thrilled. And this is the great thing about the EV Cafe, if you don't mind me saying. There are no hard and fast answers. There's an awful lot of opinion. There's an awful lot of evidence. And we're lucky enough to get people who do know what they're doing with what we have right now. And we have the minds, the curiosity and the passion to unpick the bits that we don't yet know. All I know is that it's been really interesting, fabulous guests. So James, thank you so much. And Matt, just brilliant having a customer come along and say, do you know what? They provided this and it did that. Absolutely speaks volumes. Can't thank you all enough for being here today. 1 o'clock, go and have some lunch. Bless your hearts.
Best question. Are we sticking with Ian? Yeah.
Ian Thompson?
Okay, I think Anne just stole it. I think Anne just stole it. I think she just stole the mug. She said that we could use the heat from the data centers to power nearby towns and infrastructure. What a genius input to the session.
That's it.
Oh,
winner.
For you.
Chicken dinner.
Microsoft is doing it in Denmark.
There you go.
I'm going to Denmark next week. I'm going to go and see it. And Ian, as you Ian's gladly acknowledged that Anne's question was great. So there we go. And Ian's got a cup anyway, but it's an older design.
Thank you, John, for hosting, Paul for the questions, Sam for the intros, and to our wonderful guests for being here with your insights.
And also, Sarah, thanks to you. Right. We're off ski for a lie down in a dark room. We will see you all in another month's time, or maybe on Friday. If you're kicking around for the news at 10 o'clock, be there or be a cuboid. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
That's all. Bye.
Bye.